Hey guys, so is alien abduction real? Hearing all these buzzards making this noise behind me, can you hear them? Ooh, you maybe even see them fly by at some point. So hearing all these noises, it reminds me of my 2018 contact experience where I was doing the Facebook live stream, and it was like 12 days after I'd had my physical contact experience above the Yao ship where I'd like this missing time, and when they dropped me back off in the forest there was all these fighter jets flying around my head, so I knew something had definitely happened in physical reality. A week later I began to recall the experience aboard the Yao ship where I met a 2.5 foot tall ladybug being, a Mayan being with like this space helmet on, and all these crazy experiences. And then 12 days after this contact experience I was doing a Facebook live stream just on the road, just down here, just like half a mile away from here, just where I've walked through, and the Yao started flashing us live on camera. Some of you maybe seen my video on Facebook or on YouTube where they're actually flashing us on camera, and if you watch the full-length recording on my Facebook live stream, which I'll try and remember to drop the link to in this video, like round about the time when I finished telling my story about my beautiful love light bliss experience aboard the Yao ship, and I say something, and we were all held in the love of God forever and ever, amen. I was so emotional. I said something like, this is such a beautiful experience. And then as I said that, I saw a flash of light in the sky. I think this is a sequence of events. I saw a flash of light out the corner of my eye. I was like, guys, I think I saw something. And as I said that, all these owls started hooting. They were going to-do, 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 to-do. So these are two phenomena that are connected to the alien abduction phenomena. One, missing time. Like I had this like there's so many stories of like people driving down the roads, and all of a sudden they're like pulled up on the side of the road in the middle of the night, and like 4 hours have disappeared, and they're like, what's going on? It was 11 p.m. a minute ago, now it's like 3 a.m. Oh my god, what has happened? I'm not telling anyone about this. And then they start seeing visions of like strange beings with very large heads and big black eyes and like small mouths and small ears and small spindly bodies, like walking around in tandem going remember last video here. And so missing time, that is one of the phenomena connected to the abduction phenomena. And the other one is the owls. The owl synchrony. So many people that have experienced this abduction phenomena. Red arrow display team flying by. It's interesting. I've seen all these military craft since I did that video about like talking about the military. We're going to do a disclosure video soon, and maybe even a secret space program one. Anyway, that's another topic. So what was I taught? Oh yeah, extraterrestrial alien abduction. And so while we were on this topic, I kind of going off on this tangent, I kind of lined it off and segued into it myself. Dr. Stephen Greer, who started this whole process for me with his CE5 contact meditation, believes that all like all ETs are pure love lights, and that all the abduction phenomena are actually carried out by they're all fake, and they're all created by our government to create fear, and they're like I don't know, drug people or something to create hallucinations, and they're like actually military aircraft that are abducting people, and there's like these programmed life forms, as he calls them, that are like non-bio, like I don't know, like androids or something, like cyborgs that are programmed to look like grey ETs to carry out this abduction phenomena. And so perhaps one of the reasons why he hasn't quite hit the nail on the head, in my humble opinion, is because as I understand it, these little greys that are carrying out the abduction phenomena are actually kind of like human programmed life forms, kind of like human, like android, cyborg, like biological, semi-biological entities. I'm not sure exactly what they are. I'm sure they must be biological because they create hybrid species between them. But they are kind of operating, as I understand it, they are actually controlled by the mantid beings, and they're actually humans from a parallel reality version of Earth. So he's almost right when he says that they're all carried out by humans, and they're just like life forms that are like being controlled by some other entity. But as I understand it, the entities controlling them are the mantis beings, the great big mantis beings, and they are actually parallel reality Earth humans. So he's not too far from the truth. But of course the Yao that I channel, and the Sasani that Bashar is a member of, some of you maybe know Bashar, these are actually hybrids of us and the Greys from the future, come back to assist us through this shift we're going at this time. So they must be biological organisms to some degree. So this is the story about what's going on with the abduction phenomena as I understand it. The Greys are actually parallel reality Earth humans. And yes, they come from the Zeta Reticuli star system, because Betty and Barney Hill, the famous first two abductees, look up their story on the internet after this video, Betty and Barney Hill, the first two well-known abductees. Betty was apparently drew like this star map that she was shown on the ship in her abduction experience, and it was later recognized as the map of Zeta Reticuli, as I understand it. And so and these ETs, the Greys, they're often called the Zetas, the reticulum, and so they are based in the Zeta Reticuli star system, but that's just where they set up base, because they're actually from a parallel reality version of Earth in another dimension. And so what happened in their reality, they were a very technologically advanced race. They had very advanced technology. They were also very advanced telepathically. But what they did, they got too focused on technology and began to lose kind of the love, compassion, emotion part of their consciousness, and get too masculine, too left-brained, the way our society is very dangerously and precariously going at the minute. And one of their warnings is that we must not make, well, it's up to us, but if we do not wish to destroy our own planet like the Greys destroyed their planet, we need to get out of this left-brain mindset where everything is calculated and everything is divisive and everything is kind of manipulated and warmongering, and we need to reconnect with our right-brained, pure love, unconditional, nurturing, intuitive, divine feminine consciousness, and balance the two, so we bring more love back into our society and we stop fighting each other, and we learn to cooperate to save our world, and not only cooperate with other people but cooperate with Earth, become more like symbiotic, become more in harmony with Earth and regenerate our Earth, rather than these insane people that are running the world at the minute, that are like just like kind of destroying the planet without even realizing what they're doing. I think they're so deluded and asleep they don't even realize they're destroying the planet. Anyway, so let's not make it into a depressing video. It's going to be pretty shocking whatever way you go into the abduction story though. So this is one of the warnings. So the Greys, they kind of went down this line, the direction that some people in our reality want our Earth to go at present, kind of like the Elon Musk route, who's like creating like SpaceX, so we can go out into space and find the answers to reality through technology. No disrespect to Elon Musk. I think he's a pretty cool dude. Like, I don't know what your own opinions are on Elon Musk, but he's lost in his mind. He's got no spiritual connection. He's got no heart. He's got no love. He's got no compassion. He's lost the divine feminine aspect that nobody knows what the nature of reality is. You're looking in the wrong places, Mr. Musk. The answers are within. Anyway, so yes, if we follow this kind of Elon Musk reality where we try to find the answers through technology, this is the mistake the Greys made, and they actually destroyed their planet through getting too obsessed with technology and disconnecting from wisdom, because true wisdom doesn't come from the mind. True wisdom comes from the heart, and it's guided intuitively from within. This is what kind of channeling points us to. It's a deeper wisdom that comes from source, that comes from our higher self, and it's the only way we can actually save this planet, because we don't have the intelligence in our physical mind. We can't learn the answers from the past. We can't learn the answers from books, from other people's knowledge, because they all believe nonsense, that they're separate beings in separate realities, and they're like, they don't create their reality, and like when we die, that's the end. So it's pretty much all nonsense. So if people are trying to find the answers from other people, which is what the left mind is, it's looking out into reality for the answers, it won't work. So we've got to learn the lessons. Do you think he's learning the lesson? Can you see him? And it's a red arrow displating. And so more of the left brain insanity, unfortunately. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's you know, if he's in the military, there's not much feminine energy in the military, and who knows, maybe there is, maybe there's more growing. But yes, so the Greys, they became all left brain oriented, and they began to destroy their reality. They actually destroyed their planet and had to move underground, and that's why they developed these big black eyes, so they could see underground. They bred emotion out their race, and they got to the point where they could actually no longer reproduce. They mutated due to going underground and due to have no no emotion. They actually mutated to survive underground, but the mutation actually caused them to mutate to the point where they could no longer reproduce. So out of desperation to prolong their civilization, they used their high technology to tunnel through to a parallel reality, through to many different parallel dimensions and realities, to find another version of themselves from another parallel reality, to create a hybrid species with that had viable genetic material, that still had plenty of emotion, which us humans, we have plenty of emotion, don't we? That were still very emotional and still had very strong sexual potency, strong genes that were able to reproduce. And we were like the perfect specimen we were looking for, because we weren't very intelligent. We didn't have their high levels of intelligence. We weren't very telepathic, but we did have kind of a lot of emotion, and we did have very viable ability to reproduce. As we all know, like, people are breeding like rabbits at the minute, especially in Peru. They seem to breed like rabbits there. No disrespect to my lovely Peruvian folk that I lived with for 3.5 years, but they do breed like rabbits out there, and people can tend to breed like rabbits over here as well. Do you use that term in the US? We have lots of rabbits around here. Maybe we manifest a rabbit. And so they tunneled through to our parallel reality. They discovered that we, us humans, had viable genetic material that was kind of had the emotion. Some of us had kind of had psychic abilities that they would see as strong genetic traits, because they wanted to prolong their psychic ability. Some of us were quite physically strong. So if you got chosen in the abduction program and you've been abducted, know that you were chosen because you had strong psychic traits, you were very physically strong, you had strong reproductive abilities, and you were good genetic material. So if you have been abducted and you've been through all the trauma and the fear of being abducted, know that you were specifically chosen because you had very viable DNA and viable traits. So it's cool, you can take away from it. Your ego can get a hit off that. Maybe. No offense. And so they tunneled through to this parallel reality version of Earth. They selected certain humans with certain viable genetic traits, and they began abducting us, taking us up on ships, strapping us to tables, doing lots of experiments on ourselves, giving us injections, taking DNA samples, doing anal probes. Have you seen the Whitley Strieber story, Communion, or read the book Communion? That's where the anal probe joke came from, that South Park made into a very humorous story. Woo! And it's because I was talking about the military reality up here. Like, they're going to keep buzzing us now, I think, guys. Since I started talking about the secret space program. Did I talk about this, or was that my recent channeling? Anyway, we'll make a video on that. I note this afterwards. Make a video about fourth density secret space program Orion system, maybe, being as it's come through in my recent 8/8 Lions Gate channeling. So the Greys that had mutated, they had these big black eyes because they were living under Earth. They could no longer reproduce. They found us. They started abducting us. They would come in at night time. They would levitate people through their ceilings up onto the craft. They would blank most people's memories so they couldn't remember it. They would extract semen. They would extract eggs. They would extract genetic material. In the early days, they would actually have physical sex with us, and so we agreed this on a higher level, as I understand it. On a soul level, we like kind of agreed, like Earth, our planet, is going to be going through a shoddy time. As one of my friends around here would say, shoddy, going through a rough time, and like we're being deep strife. We'd forget about our connection to source and the divine feminine unconditional love, which we so desperately needed to save our reality. And so they would come and they would abduct us, and they would create a hybrid species that would come back to us from the future and teach us what we need to know about our connection to the divine feminine, our connection to infinite intelligence, our ability to channel, and our ability to get answers from within to save our planet. And so we agreed this from a higher level, and the Greys knew that we agreed it from a higher level. And this is sometimes why they couldn't understand, because humans have segregated consciousness. We have a higher self, we have an unconscious mind, and we have a physical mind. But the Greys like most beings in creation have fully integrated consciousnesses. They don't have these separate realities. So this is why the Greys like freaked out, and they can't really understand why we're all freaking out on the ships when we're getting abducted and when we get an anal probe and we're screaming and threatening to kill them. They couldn't really understand this because they understood that we had agreed to this from a higher level. So they were kind of like, what is going on? These humans are flipping insane. They're like, all we want to do is get a bit of DNA. They've agreed to this on a higher level and they seem to want to kill us. So they have to strap us down and use their magic wands to like touch us on the head and knock us unconscious and all this stuff. So this is what is going on with the extraterrestrial abduction program. And so the goal of it was to create hybrid species, and many of the abductees have been talked about seeing like hybrid beings and being introduced to their hybrid children, and seeing like vials, huge red glass vials with like hybrid beings being generated in kind of test tube babies, kind of like this kind of stasis. Stasis is not the right word, but you get the meaning. And so this is what's going on with the extraterrestrial abduction story. They are parallel reality version Earth humans from another parallel timeline that tunnel through to our reality, set up base in the Zeta Reticuli star system to collect our DNA, our semen and our eggs to create a hybrid species. And they created one known as the hybrid children that are actually from this timeline. They're here to interact with us and going to be part of First Contact, Open Contact. They created the Yahyel civilization, which I channel, which I went on the ship and had the missing time experience when the owls showed up, went to-do, and they created the Sasani, the Shikani, which are Bashar's civilization, and they created some other civilizations. One which I know is the Playal. There's two others, I don't know, Bashar's talked about them, but like this is the hybridization program. This is what's going on with the abduction phenomena. So peace, love, light, and Shivai.